if I like get my tinfoil hat on a little bit here and conjecture what really happened here, if I had to guess, and I'm going to say this is assuming this actually makes everything work. It makes the FBI story work. It makes the surgeon report work. It makes all these work. Okay, so let's take the assumption that this kid actually did stash a 30-06 Mauser in the woods that the FBI found. We see the ballistics. The surgeon report is true. What I see, and we know that entities do this, is they get ingrained in these Discord chats, Reddits, they radicalize these kids. And so what I would think, if I were to set this up and I'm going to action this target and I want to get away from it myself as the shooter, here's what I do. We get this kid to go plant the rifle for me. Okay, you're going to plant the rifle in the bushes here at X location. That way the shooter, me, can come and grab the rifle. What I need you to do is go to the roof and I need you to spot for me. Let me know, text me if anybody sees me coming to grab the rifle and go up to the roof. I get the kid up on the roof. I'm actually staged in, let's say, an offset area and behind a window back right there, ready to take a shot. That kid's on the roof. I take the shot. I take out Kirk. That kid panics, goes, what the hell's going on? You see him take off the roof. How's that work? Well, that kid's DNA is on the 30-06. That 30-06 is in the woods. The FBI does find it, attaches everything together. Now you have your fall guy. Now you have your patsy. The real shooter walks away. Also, I shot him in the neck with a lower caliber round. That guy did actually get stuck in the neck because it's a different shooter. Okay, so again, this is tinfoil hat, guys, to the viewers, right? This is just me speculating. If I had to try to, from the information we have, make it all actually work, that would be my full tinfoil hat theory on that. Well, the one thing I do know is this 30-06 Man of Steel story, it doesn't work. Like, no matter how you want to wrap your head around it. So then we have to figure out, okay, well, are we dealing with incompetence? Are we dealing with lying? What I'll say is this: my biggest thing now is, like, where's the autopsy report? Like, if I were to be able to walk up to Charlie and look at him myself, I'd be able to, and see the bullet. I would be, with the information we have, I'd be able to pretty much solve not who did it, but how it was done pretty much immediately. And so why we're not getting that, I don't know. It's very confusing, because from the limited footage we have, I can't conclusively say he was shot from the front, he was shot from the back.
Well, you just said that's the elephant in the room. And I've been trying to find out. They say, oh, we'll get the autopsy, and I can't find the medical examiner ordering it. I can't find anywhere if there was an autopsy. We see a day later, he's already flown to Arizona. J.D. Vance takes him there. We see the wife, Erica, in an open casket petting his hand. That
Which
usually they don't usually do a coroner examination the next day. I think there probably wasn't an autopsy, and under law, I
don't think there was either.
Under law, I have to check Utah, but I think it's in all 50 states. That's illegal to not do an autopsy in a murder like this. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, to your point, right? It's an open casket, which means he's already been embalmed. Which means he got embalmed pretty much immediately for him to travel like that. Because and that is something they want to do, right? They want to embalm, someone as fast as possible if they can. But in something high profile as this, from what I'm hearing, and again, I have no idea if this is true or not, you would know more than me, Alex, is that there was no autopsy done, and that they potentially immediately embalmed him and moved him. And that's
I made calls and I'm told, oh, we don't know. Let us check, which I think is bull. And that's why I'm starting to get really upset here.
I'll tell you this. If you gave me the TPU footage from that high fidelity camera, right? That not the iPhone footage, but the camera that nobody seems to, other than Candace Owens, I guess, has seen it. The footage from this high fidelity camera that they use to stream on their own website. You give me that footage and you give me the real autopsy report. You let me actually see what happened. I can tell you exactly what he was shot with, from what direction, what round was used immediately. But those things are the two things that, of everything the FBI has shoved. And this is where it's confusing, Alex. The FBI has constantly, just ahead of themselves, throwing out information on Twitter. We got the guy. We don't got the guy. We got the guy. We don't got the guy. Here's the gun. Well, maybe that's not the gun. We figured it out. Oh, well, maybe we didn't figure it out. So the FBI is giving us all the information possible as fast as possible, but not the two things that we need to just solve the case. very, very odd to me. Who could benefit? And man, there's 5-6 entities, right? And so the first one, right, when you talk about Charlie Kirk with the left or Soros, some Soros-backed hit, if you think about why is that big? Well, Charlie Kirk, and I'm sure you know the statistics of, I believe in 2023, Gen Z males were polling plus 18 Democrat, and in 2025, they're now polling plus 22 Republican. That's a 44-point shift, and Democrats can't win an election without the young vote. It's just never going to happen. And who's responsible for that huge shift? Well, Charlie Kirk probably has the most to deal with it. So you got the incentives there. You have obviously all the Israel stuff with all that weird shit going on about, that you guys, I'm sure, have covered that. You have, like, it's very odd. Why did the Senate vote to block the Epstein files 1 hour after he was pronounced dead? All those things are weird. You get into foreign countries, right? If you're China, Russia, Iran, that if you want to indict some type of division and civil war within the United States to bring it down within, that's another option. You have our own government, right? As you just mentioned, there's so many entities that benefit from this that I don't know where to start with. I would just be speculating based off of what it is. But for what I think people shouldn't do, and I see some people doing this, be like, oh, well, it was 100% this. We know it was this, leftist kid with his furry boyfriend, or we know it was Israel, or we know it was X, we know it was I. I don't think we have any information to really show us one way or another yet.
I honestly don't know how to feel right now. I really don't, because everywhere I turn, someone is saying one thing, someone else is saying the exact opposite. Yeah. And who's actually telling the truth? Who's actually telling the truth anymore? It feels like the ground is shifting under our feet, ladies and gentlemen. This is crazy. Like we can't agree on what reality is anymore. That seemed to be the case. And it just makes me wonder, what's really going on with the country? What's really going on? How did we get to this point where it seems as if trust is gone? It seems as if trust is gone, and every headline that you see from the mainstream media feels like a spin. Yeah, literally. And we are just left questioning not just the news, but questioning each other. Who is telling the truth? Who's telling the truth?
What I will say with this was, we're talking about a 30-06, okay? And I actually have, little demo rounds here of how big a 30-06 round is for the viewers that don't understand compared to a 5.56 round. This is a gigantic round comparatively. Okay, I have a 30-06 right back here, Browning 30-06, that's killed a moose and broken through moose bone, elk bone. And you're talking about these giant animals that weigh, 1,000, 1,500 pounds, that have incredibly dense bone because they have to carry the weight.
Yeah, I've shot through a large elk at 300 yards with a 300 Win Mag, and it went through, and then the bullet broke up in 3 pieces and blew 3 holes out on the other side.
Yeah, but now we're not talking about elk bone. We're not talking about an elk neck that's got thicker skin, thicker muscle, 3, 4, 5 times the size of a human neck. We're talking about a human neck, and the vertebrae in a human neck, and this is where I think it just gets silly, is one of the most fragile bones in the body, right? It's not even completely thick all the way through. Your spinal cord is going up through it. There's discs in between it. It's more soft bone because you got to be able to have the flexibility to move your neck around, do stuff like that. And so, as we see in this ballistics test here, that's a 30-06 round against a human replica skull within a ballistics gel. It shows like the head gets completely decapitated. So where this story got ridiculous to me was the surgeon post. Because if we're going to take the FBI at their word and say this was a 30-06 from the front, from 150 yards, and somehow this magic steel neck stopped a 30-06 round, it's not a thing. I want to say, like, even in the realm of bullets do funny things, 30-06 rounds don't do funny things on a human neck.
And so you think my lay experience is correct? With a smaller caliber, they can tumble, they can bounce off things easier, but with a super high powered rifle, that's my experience. is it takes a lot for them to really start changing direction. And so if it's coming down at an angle about like this, it would, again, blow out at the bottom of the neck. It would shoot right through like butter. In fact, it's going so fast, it would probably just blow not a normal huge hole like a 30-06 would do, maybe a 2-inch hole instead of what it went through your chest, a 4-inch hole on the other side. And so this is like 1 out of 1,000 that this story can be true?
Let me say this. If we're talking a regular 30-06 with a straight from the hunting store full metal jacket round, it's a 0% chance. If you want to get into weird, okay, the kid reloaded rounds and he only put 110 grain in and then he put a frangible tip on it. Now we're getting into the like small 1 to 2%, right? If we do these massive mental gymnastics to make this narrative work, maybe. But if you're talking about a regular high-powered 30-06 with a full metal jacket round on a human neck from 150 yards, it never doesn't go through. I mean, it's not.
Well, I mean, when I've shot elk and stuff, even with a soft point, it goes through.
Well, and that's my point. And I've heard this frangible round. It's like at 150 yards, the bullet's moving at 2,400 feet per second. That's probably still going to blow through a soft human neck, even with that. So, I've never thought this was a 30-06 from me seeing the shot, seeing what happened to Charlie's neck, and then the FBI. The second they put out this Mauser 30-06 story, I immediately didn't believe it. And yeah, here's another good test here of, thick. This is actually way thicker bone than a human neck vertebrae would be, and it blows through the bone. It blows through the dummy. It blows a massive hole in the wall behind it. So this is where we have a problem. Is that, in my opinion, what I'm not saying is, and this is where it gets complicated. Could the surgeon's report be true? Could Charlie Kirk been shot in the neck, and that bullet lodged underneath his skin and it got stuck? Sure. But sure as shit, not if it's a 30-06 round. If you want to talk about a pistol round, a 22 round, even 5.56, Alex, and here's the thing, right? Like in our profession, we've induced a lot of high-powered rifle rounds on human bodies, and we've also treated a lot of high-powered rifle rounds on human bodies. And I couldn't even see a 5.56 round not making it through his neck. That's even pushing the possibilities of this kind of getting ridiculous. So if the surgeon's statement is correct, that means that's not the murder weapon. I just can't believe that that's the murder weapon if that's the case.
So using deduction like Sherlock Holmes, I totally agree with you, because I don't think the surgeon's in on it, and I don't think that the TPS USA people are, but absolutely, I don't believe that's a 30-06, even an angle going in like that. And I mean, even a 22 long rifle at 150, 200 yards, in most cases, I think would go through most of the neck. This makes no sense.
Yeah. And to your point, when we're talking about, I've seen a lot, there's a bunch of videos now that have proved that it's, a shot from behind the back of the neck, and that's an X wound out the front. And then there's another video, I think it's the third video I submitted to you guys that just came out this morning. We finally got an image, a video from behind Charlie, which is proving that he was shot from the front. And there's kind of things that I'm going to do a video on it later today that you can kind of pick apart about both that make, is this true? Is this not true? I don't think we have conclusive evidence at all to sort of figure this out. But what I will say is this. If you were to give, with all the information and knowledge we have right now, here we go, here's the video. So what they're saying is here, see how the back of the shirt poofs up when he gets hit? What he's saying in the video is that's now conclusive proof Charlie got hit from the front. The problem is we've all seen the front view of that, where when he gets hit, the front of the shirt comes all the way up to his face as well. And then not only that, okay, if he got shot from the front here, you see this massive blowout of the shirt. Yeah, but there's no exit wound. So the bullet's not causing that massive blowout in the back. You could very easily still have been hit from that footage up here in the back of the head with a smaller caliber munition underneath Charlie's hair. In that footage, an entrance wound is going to be very, very hard to see initially in that fast footage. It's still possible that getting hit from the side actually blows the shirt up in both directions, sort of from the impact of that. So I'm not sure.
Wow.
I'm not sure what we're looking at here.
I want to play these videos you're talking about, Nate.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, remember the words of Jesus. and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Yeah, absolutely. Those words aren't just about having the right information. No, they're about encountering the truth. Encountering the truth, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, encountering the truth. And that goes deeper. It goes deeper than just facts. It goes deeper than just facts. It's the kind of truth that cuts through lies, illusions. Through lies and illusions. And the heavy chains of fear and guilt. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Jesus was pointing to himself. Jesus was pointing to himself because he is the truth. He is the truth. And to know him is to step into the light where there is no confusion. Where there is no confusion. And confusion has no power in that kind of an environment. It has no power. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Charlie, I think he set the ultimate example of what true leadership looks like. He did. He didn't care about status. He didn't care about fame or about chasing headlines. That wasn't Charlie. What mattered to him was the mission. The mission is what mattered to Charlie. Yeah, the cause that he believed in and the people he was fighting for. Yeah. While so many are so driven by ego or recognition, guess what? Charlie showed character. That was Charlie. Conviction, courage. Courage was far more important to him. It mattered the most. And his life reminds us that greatness isn't measured by how many people know you. No, but by how faithful you serve. How faithful you serve. Even when no one is watching, that's what matters. That's what matters. Maybe this kid is the one who did it. I'm not saying that he didn't do it. But the truth is, we may not know the full picture now and all the facts. But what I believe is that what millions of people all around the world are hoping for is that justice is served. Justice has to be served. It's about making sure that the right process is followed and that facts do come out. Yeah. And that everyone or anyone who is responsible is brought to justice. They're held accountable. They gotta be held accountable. People want fairness and accountability. That's what matters most. That's what matters most. Yeah. That's what matters most, ladies and gentlemen. And if there are other people who were also involved as well, they should also be held accountable. They have to be held accountable to face the full consequences of their actions. They must. No one is above the law. No one is above the law, and no one's involvement should be ignored. That should not be allowed to happen. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. When good men stand by and do nothing, evil will prevail. Evil will be allowed to thrive. That's why good people ought to speak up. That's why they ought to speak up. And the danger is that we should not allow evil to prevail. We should not allow evil to thrive. Justice isn't about punishing the guilty only. It's also about sending a clear message. A clear message that wrongdoing will not go unchecked. You see? Yeah. And those who harm others will ultimately face the music. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, folks, what I can say is God help us all. God help us all. Because it seems that we are living in a time where there is so much confusion, chaos, moral uncertainty, immorality. Yeah, where what is right seems to be ignored. It seems to be ignored. It doesn't trend anymore. It doesn't trend. People are struggling out there. People are struggling out there. And the world feels like it's spinning out of control. It seems like it's spinning out of control. Yeah. So, dear Lord, guide us, help us, show us the way that we must go. Give us the wisdom to see clearly, to separate that which is evil from that which is right, to walk in the rightful path, and to hold on to hope. And since everything around, it feels like it's covered in darkness. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just a matter of posting another video or what, but it's really a matter of light versus darkness. There is darkness in the world out there. There is darkness. And light always wins, Light always wins. That's why it's important for good men to stand up, to speak up. Because when good men are quiet, it seems as if evil thrives. And that should not be allowed to happen. That should not be allowed to happen. The truth will always outlast lies. That's just a fact. Yeah, that's just a fact. Hope always breaks through despair. Hope always breaks through despair. And these three will remain forever. Love, faith, hope, and love. And the greatest is love. Yeah, the greatest is love. And in the end, the victory of light isn't just possible, it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed, ladies and gentlemen. Well, folks, if you enjoyed this one, be sure to click on the next one. Don't forget to like, to share, to comment. I will see you again next time. Bye-bye for now.